What's up, Star Wars fans? No, I am not bored of Star Wars, but let's talk about this for a second. Mando's just finished. I know everyone's gone with a fine-tooth comb over every detail. Just me making my videos and my recaps. I've watched these episodes multiple times. We don't get Boba till Christmas. We don't get Bad Batch till sometime this year. I'm assuming, later in the year. So we kind of have this content-free period of Star Wars. And, if you're like me, you've already gone through Rebels and Clone Wars, quite a few times. You've obviously have gone through the movies quite a few times, especially the original trilogy, like when you're approaching the hundreds, if not thousands. So it's time to take a break. It's not that we're bored, but it's always nice to take a step back, enjoy some other stuff, and then come back to Star Wars refreshed and, energized, ready to consume that new content whenever we get it. So my top 10 lists are going to be movies that are either similar thematically to Star Wars, visually, something, around those lines, so that if you love Star Wars, there's a good chance you're going to love or like some of these movies. So without further ado, here's my top 10 movies to check out while we're waiting for new Star Wars content. So coming in at number 10, John Carter. This movie was a massive box office flop. It flopped so bad that people had to resign. The trilogy that was planned was scrapped. But at the end of the day, this is a pretty fun movie. I enjoy it. And as a Star Wars fan, there's a lot of similar tropes that Star Wars fans can identify with. You have the unlikely hero, and he's thrust into this new alien world between two warring factions. And, he's looked upon to be the hero to kind of save the day. If you're interested in this one, check it out. It's on Disney+. Coming in at number 9 on the list, we have Galaxy Quest. Now, this one on the surface might look like it's more of a spoof on Star Trek. And I don't know, maybe that's what they were going for or not, but this movie is fantastic. Look at that cast alone. It is all-star cast. This movie is funny. It has action. Not only does it have a very unique plot setup with the whole we're just a fake TV show, but we're sending signals all through the galaxy, and actual aliens receive that signal thinking they're actually real-life heroes because they don't really understand the whole entertainment and, fake movie studio business. And on top of it, has a 90% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which doesn't hurt either. Coming in at number 8, The Fifth Element. This movie is a sci-fi extravaganza. They jammed so much stuff into this, everything from giant turtles, ancient artifacts, crazy aliens, lots of action, and one over-the-top insane character played by one Chris Tucker. This is definitely worth a watch. It's a fun time for sure. You can catch it on Netflix or Amazon Prime. Coming in at number 7 is The Matrix. And by Matrix, it could be any movie in the Matrix trilogy. I was a little hesitant on putting this one on the list because it doesn't really scream, it's not set in space. It doesn't have, that kind of Star Wars aspect, but it is science fiction, and it does have that one similar trope that Star Wars has carried throughout, at least the first 6 movies. And that is the whole chosen one prophecy. Neo's obviously the chosen one, as was Anakin. It could also be interpreted it was Luke. It could also be interpreted even if it was Leia. So it definitely plays on that theme for sure. The Wachowskis created a truly revolutionary at the time trilogy with these. On any other list, this might be a lot higher up. But just because I'm not cloning this one as close to Star Wars or relating it as close to theirs, so it's down a little bit. But you guys don't need me to tell you about The Matrix. Everyone knows how great these movies are. If you want to check them out, Netflix, I highly suggest at least the first 2 are awesome. All right, coming in at number 6, the Alien franchise. The Ridley Scott universe is amazing. There was a lot of big hits here, and these movies tend to tread more on the horror end of the sci-fi spectrum. But there's you do get a little variability, and there's just tremendous world building with these movies. A guilty pleasure of mine is probably one of the weaker ones in the universe is Alien Resurrection, but if I had to recommend one to watch, it's got to be Prometheus. This one truly stands alone on itself. It's so much different than the other ones. You can watch it as a standalone movie, just as long as you aren't going to get too upset by a little too many unanswered questions. But there's just a lot to dig into with Prometheus. It's a beautiful movie. I thought it was very well done. It's definitely worth checking out, and I believe you can watch it on Amazon Prime. All right, coming in at number 5 are the Star Trek movies. The whole war between Star Wars versus the Trekkies, we don't need it. We could all love each other's franchises. And, I loved a lot of the Star Trek stuff. I personally grew up with the Next Generation trilogy, so I'm a bit of a sucker for Jean-Luc Picard. So if I had to recommend a movie, it'd probably be Star Trek First Contact. If you want to watch one in particular, that's the one that obviously dives into the Borg, which I think it's one of the best ones they've done. And in general, if you haven't really given Star Trek a chance, or you haven't seen many of them, there's a lot of movies here to watch. You have the movies from the original run, you have the Next Generation movies, and then you have the JJ movies. And if you're one of those guys who hasn't really watched Star Trek at all, you're hardcore Star Wars, the JJ movies are probably going to be most appealing to you because they feel most like Star Wars. But there's a couple duds in there, but it's definitely worth checking out a lot of these movies. All right, coming in at number 4, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. This is Marvel's Star Wars. I don't have to tell you to watch this one. This movie was a massive hit. It's funny, has a great cast, great writing, great director, great action. There's not much really to say other than go check it out. It's on Disney Plus. If you haven't seen it, what are you waiting for? All right, coming in at number 3, we have Blade Runner or Blade Runner 2049. Both movies are great. I actually enjoy Blade Runner 2049 a little bit better. The beefed up effects and visuals, the cinematography. Denis Villeneuve treated Ridley Scott's universe with such care and created a great movie. It's something I would characterize as a slow burn. That might turn some people off, but I enjoyed, and it's also long, but I enjoyed every minute of it, soaking up everything they show you. And, the story obviously has a great payoff. And again, as a Star Wars trope, we got Harrison Ford in it. We got Harrison Ford in both of them, actually. These are great movies. I cannot recommend them enough. You can catch the original right now on Netflix or Amazon Prime. All right, coming in number 2, Serenity. And what does Serenity give us? It gives us the next best version of Han Solo, and that's Malcolm Reynolds. Like, seriously, who does not like Nathan Fillion? He is amazing in this. And obviously we know the backstory of Serenity. It's actually the sequel, I guess you would say, to the TV show Firefly, which was on Fox. And during its runtime, I had no idea Firefly was even running. I didn't find out about it until about 8 years after it was canceled. So it finally got its due. It got a movie called Serenity. It wraps up the loose ends in there and gives you the best of everything there was to enjoy in Firefly in a full-length feature film that is well done. Written, directed by Joss Whedon. It is tremendous. If you have not seen this movie, it doesn't matter if you've seen Firefly. This movie acts as a standalone as well. Please check it out. You can catch it on Netflix or Amazon Prime. All right, before I reveal my number 1 pick, I'm going to quickly run through some honorable mentions. Let's start with Dune. I've never actually read Frank Herbert's novel. I'm not really the biggest book guy. All I have is David Lynch's 1984 version of Dune to go by, and don't get me wrong, it's good. I enjoy it. It just wasn't enough to hit the top 10. It's a very strange movie, and I guess a lot of people could say it's very Star Wars-esque. I just don't know if with how dated it seems, something about it I just couldn't put in my top 10. Again, I've watched it, I enjoyed it. Like the whole Baron, like there's some really crazy things that happen in this movie. Why I would actually recommend watching it though is the Dune remake from none other than Denis Villeneuve, who already crushed Blade Runner, is coming out fairly soon. So if you want to somewhat know what might be going on in that movie, maybe it's good to watch this to get your feet wet a little bit, because it is From what I understand from the book readers, it's a very complex book, and it's very hard to jam into a set time frame of a movie. So if anyone's going to do it, it's Denis. So definitely check that out. Another honorable mention, The Last Starfighter. I love this movie as a kid. Perfect setup for dream scenario for a kid. You know, our alien arcade machine was actually planted on Earth. Kid keeps playing it, and whoever sets the record on there, that's the person who's chosen to go, you know, into space to help this alien race fight against the evil people. Basically the arcade game is set up exactly how the spaceship would work. So he's able to go in quickly and kick a lot of butt. The effects do not hold up at all. I actually tried to watch it a couple of years ago, and it's effect wise, it's very tough to watch. But if you haven't seen it and you're looking at checking out some old classic sci-fis, definitely recommend that one. The Google algorithm and the Facebook algorithm has been telling me the last couple of weeks or so to watch Jupiter Ascending. So I have seen this movie when it first came out. I thought it was just meh. You know, the only thing I can really remember about it is there's a scene with Channing Tatum where he has like some sort of rocket shoes on or something like that. I believe it's from the Wachowskis. So, you know, it's, you know, going to be a little out there. So it's not in my top 10, but it's definitely a movie I'm personally going to be checking out in the near future. So my last one I will mention, Stargate. It obviously kicked off a bunch of successful TV shows. It's still entertaining. You know, it's not my top 10, but it's definitely worth checking out if you've never seen it before. All right, my number one movie is an enormous guilty pleasure. Don't hate me because I'm going to say this. I hope you all agree, but Starship Troopers. And when I say guilty pleasure, it always felt like that. But I feel, you know, the last few years, maybe even a little bit longer, the guilty title is starting to fade away. You know, when this was first released, I think it was branded as cheesy. It was branded as, you know, a mindless action movie. You know, entertaining, obviously, but not much else to it. But over time, it's gained that cult following, and a lot of people are now starting to realize what maybe the director and the writing team are trying to do. It's a satire on the glorification of war, and it gives us a lot of crazy things. You know, everything from Neil Patrick Harris to a co-ed shower scene. So if you have not seen Starship Troopers, check it out. If you haven't seen it in a while, fire up Netflix or Amazon Prime, give it another watch, and I'm sure you will enjoy this movie. All right, so that is my top 10 movies to watch to take a little break from Star Wars. So let me know in the comments, do you love any of these movies? Do you hate any of these movies? And I know there's a ton of sci-fi out there. You know, this list wasn't supposed to be sci-fi specific. It was supposed to be more what could be relatable to the Star Wars fan. But I want to hear from you. Let me know what I'm missing. What do I need to check out? What should I be watching? Make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, and we'll check you all in the next video.